I didn't sleep very well last night. For kind of a nice reason. My cat was all over me. I slept in the other room last night because we decided yesterday to consciously uncouple. We've been trying for a long time to make this work, or I've been trying, like probably coming across too coachy, too pushy, too attached. The depth of connection, intimacy, it's just, I wasn't receiving what I needed, and the way in which I communicated it made him probably feel inadequate or like failing, and we just couldn't find a way to continue. And as soon as we surrendered and let go, the friendship has returned, the kindness, the gentleness, the thoughtfulness has returned. The depth of what I'm craving isn't this wind, isn't this, yet the love is there, the kindness is there, the care is there. So my cat was so snuggly with me. I really needed my magic mind this morning. I just finished a really great podcast, but I needed that calm, flowing, alive energy that magic mind gives me, and the immune support, adaptogens, all the things to make me feel better. So my heart is, it's actually okay. It's almost like my heart knew this was coming. You know, when you stay too long, try too hard, it's just time to surrender. And I'm really, really proud of our ability to consciously uncouple. I'll be living here until I find my next place to buy. We're dear friends. We care about each other. We want the best for one another. And so, as you go into this podcast, you're going to meet a couple who is still together, who has been through difficult times, destroying of trust, rebuilding of trust, finding of themselves. So it's really wild to be a stand for a couple, and to also be a stand if they want to consciously uncouple, and to walk with them into the unknown. And this is where they are. You're going to learn so much from them. And meanwhile, this is where I am. And what if it's all okay? What if no one's right and no one's wrong? Nothing is right, nothing is wrong. We're just all here to evolve our souls and be our most authentic selves and be good to ourselves and to one another. So enjoy this beautiful podcast. Welcome to Intimate Conversations. Become the one. Intimacy is an inside job. Hello, delicious people, and welcome to another episode of Intimate Conversations. Here we are in season 12, Become the One. And this month, we're talking about one of my 10 Allana Pratt method processes, the dance of polarity. This is where we really look about what is the gift in the shit show. So I have two of my favorite people with me, Amanda and Brandon, who I have had the pleasure of hugging because they've attended several retreats. But let me tell you a little bit about their story first, written by Amanda, who's an amazing storyteller. And then we're going to hear it from their mouths personally. So they've been working with me since 2022. And just like you, they are an average married couple trying to make a beautiful life in this complicated world. And they have two young kids, 4 and 2 years old. And Amanda stays home with the littles, and Brandon works as a welder. And after a long 6 months of monthly marriage counseling, they came to me out of desperation to save their marriage or to decide just to split. And that might be better for everybody. And what they came to discover is they would do neither. They became open and vulnerable about their own inner truths and their own inner hurts, and taking responsibility for their own individual growth and their own individual happiness. And they began to give each other space to heal and time to come together to begin building trust again. And what they decided was phase one of the marriage was unsavable. And they decided to build a brand new marriage. And they work hard every day to be gracious to one another and talk way more about the future and what they want to continue to build with one another than the past. And they still have normal annoyances and frustrations that bring living life with another person to light. But without my retreats and my willingness to hold space for the two of them, and my honesty that it's a two-person healing job, they believe that they wouldn't be together today. And they say in their words, we are forever grateful for Allana's willingness to show up for us and her unwavering belief that that makes me cry, we're worth saving. I fucking love you guys so much. Yeah. Wow. Okay, we'll just start the whole thing off by crying. We'll just get that out of the way. Yeah, go back to when we first met and we had those conversations, and I just believe in you. I just believe in you. What was it like in your world? How many people were believing in you? First Amanda, then Brandon.
My dad and my stepmom believed in us in the best way that they possibly could, but that still, in my opinion, that's very still kind of one-sided, right? Because they're my dad and my stepmom.
Yeah.
And even though they're very loving and gracious and open to Brandon or whatever, like he didn't, that wasn't their place to try and correct us or try and get us counseling like that. You know what I mean? So the best way the best way that they supported us was watching the kids, young children at that point. Not maybe 9 months old. I think Wyatt was maybe 9 months old. And then Abby would have been 1, 2 for the first retreat that we went on.
Right.
So that definitely was a big support from them. But outside of that, not much. I think outside of that, everyone's just like, even the counselor's just like, well, here's what you can do, here's what you can't do. But good luck. Like there's nothing in between, there's no extra, right? You're there for an hour, and then like at mark 45, you have 15 minutes left.
Right.
Then it's like, oh, well, we finally hit something, and it's like your time is up. And so you're just kind of like, we just broke through, and then you're kind of shuffled out the door, and we'll see you next week, and good luck is what it kind of felt like from time to time.
Yeah.
So
And so before we even began the work or began the retreat, what was it about me and my community, or now our community, that made you go, oh, this is different, this could work, this felt right? What was it? And then I'll ask you, Brandon.
For me, I had done a lot of growing in my spiritual awareness, and you talked my language. I guess that's like, if you want to get to bare basics, you talked my language. I understood the depth of which you were saying, because we technically met you and became aware of you and what you did through another podcast, right? That Brandon was following at the time. And he sent the podcast he was listening to me
Ah,
featuring you.
yeah.
And so I listened, and I was like, okay. And then I think he sent me another one. So I listened to two different ones that you had done.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I felt led to just get on there, and I literally poured my heart out,
Mm,
and just like, I don't know what's fixable, what's not fixable, what's worth working with, what's not. And we're
yeah.
not getting the answers fully that we need, and we're doing the best that we can, but that's all we had
Yeah.
at that point. And so I just was like, well, it's worth the call. At least it's worth the the discovery call or whatever, and just kind of land where you land. So
Yeah. Thank you. Brandon, what was it like before we started in terms of where support was or where wasn't before we began coaching? What was life like for you?
It was, I think the best support I got was just knowing that the majority of my family knew what was going on, and nobody
Yeah.
said anything.
Mm,
So really there was no like major support or anybody coming to us and being like, what can we do for you? We asked her parents, hey, we're going to go on this retreat. Would you guys mind watching the kids? You're kind of our first and best option. So, I mean, it wasn't, as far as support goes, it was just the lack of people judging us, even though they knew what was going on. But other than that, it was just me trying to us supporting ourselves because we didn't want to put all that out there. Not necessarily saying we don't want the help. That's kind of why we came to you, but we don't want the whole world knowing what's going on.
Right. Thank you. What was it about? Was it Larry's podcast that you heard me on first?
Yeah, the Dad's Edge or Dad Edge. And I had been listening to his podcast for quite a while, probably over a year. And initially when I heard you on there, I just thought of her. Because like she said, you kind of speak her language. She had already gone through a energy course, if you will. And it wasn't something you weren't speaking my language. So
But
it
I'll
wasn't
put up with
something.
you.
Thank you. It was like something I was hoping she would like really react to and kind of run with. And it ended up being a partnership thing that we did. I wasn't like, I was hoping she would kind of, hey, here's your chance to go fix yourself. And
We're
it
still
ended
in the
up,
let's blame it all on her phase. Got
yeah.
it.
And so
Mhm.
it just ended up because you invited both of us to the retreat. So it just happened that we joined as a couple rather than
Right.
so.
Yeah.
And then for me, it was just kind of tagging along, hoping for the best. That's
When
how it
did you
began.
That's how it began. You just tagged along and hoped for the best. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm curious. I don't think I've ever asked you this, Brandon. When did tides turn from tagging along to, oh, this shit works. This lady believes in us. Wow, we're making some progress. Like, how did that unfold for you?
Probably shortly before the second retreat, which was in 2023. I think it's the community that you offer, the weekly calls that we're in. I mean, they were more individually based, even though we were both on the call. There were a lot of singles on there, and so everybody was just kind of working on their stuff. There was a lot of different perspectives, things like that. So I was really enjoying those calls, and so then going into the second retreat, it went way deeper than you get on the weekly calls. And so it was just it was really great being around meeting other people like that.
Yeah. Other people, other couples, other men.
Yeah, there were
But
a lot more couples at the retreat than
yeah,
previous.
right. Thank you. In my estimation, the two of you are like the weekly inspiration. I know you haven't now, just Amanda's on the calls every week now, and you were on for a couple of years, but you guys were literally the weekly inspiration. You were so vulnerable and you shared the tough times and the good times. And rarely was there a dry eye in the house watching the two of you be so friggin' brave and go to the core. So back to you, Amanda. Not to go into details, but a breach of trust, infidelity was really the core issue that you guys came to me with. And rebuilding trust is a big fucking deal. And so for you, Amanda, how did the way in which we said goodbye to marriage number one, we're going to recreate first a relationship with yourself, right? And then if we have a relationship with ourselves, we actually have a chance at having a relationship with one another. But if we don't even start with that relationship with ourselves, if we hate ourselves, if we can't forgive ourselves, all we do is blame the other and we're not going to get anywhere. So for you, Amanda, what was it like to do the private calls, the couples calls, the group calls, the retreat? Like what started to work for you to love you and then build trust again with Brandon? And then I'll ask you, Brandon, the same question.
That's a
That's
been
a
a
big
journey
question.
for sure. That's a big question. I think the thing that comes to me the most, like when we talk about it, is just the thing that you always tell us is that what if life didn't happen to you? What if life happened for you?
Yeah.
And I think that like that was like a big part of like, well, if life is for me and not against me. And I just the level of hurt that I caused, the level of hurt that I felt, the level of hurt that just the deep, depression too, because, in all honesty, I was also postpartum,
Yeah.
so I also had a ton of depression on top of just like other stuff too. So it was a lot. It was just so much.
Yeah.
And to get to loving myself, I'm gonna have to say that retreat, I can't speak enough about like the retreat, especially like the first one for you showing up for us. I mean, like just, I need you to get here.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, well, in my head, I'm going like, all right, we'll see. Because I didn't expect my parents to watch the kids last minute. I didn't expect tickets to show up. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like for like that we
Yeah.
could like afford and hop on. And then in that retreat, you know me now, but you really got to know me in that first retreat and just how like, even when everybody's having a positive experience, some people would be like, let's just keep it positive. And I was the last person to go that one day. And I even told you, do you remember that? I was like, I'm about to flip the script. And I told you just everything that was going on, like inside of how deeply triggered I was. Like at one point, you guys all came around and that like,
Oh, I remember
that level, like he talks about like that community of like unjudgment. And our family wasn't being judgmental, they were supporting and whatever, but like to have people come around that don't know you and don't even really know the story or the background and they just love you. I remember you were in front of me, Brayden was to my left. I know I can Tweety, is that her name, Tweety?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, it was to my right, and then
Christina
Christine
was behind you. I can still see
was
it like it
behind
was
me.
yesterday. Mhm.
In that moment, that was all that existed,
Yeah.
was just you four and holding me in this space of legitimate vulnerability of where I had just did not understand how to be me. I didn't know how to be okay with me. I didn't know how to be okay with the parts of me that I thought were bad for a long time for just, just being female and like whatever.
Yeah.
And so just getting a space to do that in a way that wasn't by myself. I think that like, so I'd had many of those moments where I would break down and I would go hide myself in the bathroom
Yeah.
and shut the door, or I would take a bath or a shower, just, to have privacy, just to cry about everything.
Yeah.
And then to wake up, I say, but we were awake, but like to like come out of it.
Yeah.
And just go, I can't control other people. You know what I mean? Like I can't control other people. I can only ask for what I need. And sometimes that means asking for what I need from others like Brandon. And sometimes that means asking my own self for what I need and being brave enough to ask myself to go ask for what I need. Like and so just little moments in there. And that was taught to me probably through the retreat the most and seeing it in the group calls, but I'm a very physical person. So being in that physical space is what really just kind of goes, okay, I'm here. Let's, like you always say, crack open and spew out everywhere.
Yep. I got you. Spew all you want.
Spew away.
You are a physical person. I remember sending where I live right now, there's no room for my pole dancing pole. So I sent it to you and said, come on, clean out that garage for that girl. She's got to dance.
Yes.
She's got to be in her body. So yeah, thank you. And I remember, Amanda, being at your feet as that was all occurring. I remember, and it has this very, and I'm not religious, but this idea of, like Mary Magdalene at Jesus's feet, this kind of idea, right?
Yeah.
Like the honor of your pain, knowing if we breathed through the darkness, we would make it to the light. And that I'm not going to fix you. I'm going to facilitate and I'm going to hold you safe. And I'm going to bring in all these other people. And your man was there and sisterhood was there and you were safe. You were safe to like completely feel, let it come up through and to the other side, something that
Mhm.
I had personally never experienced in a retreat before. Every retreat,
Mhm.
I get better too. I give myself over to the divine more and more. But I don't understand why I love you so much. I just like, I am going to the ends of the earth for these people. They are just my people. They are me. I am them. We are one. Like that's how that works. And my love that comes through both of you for your children as well. Um, maybe it's that my parents never did it.
Mm.
Maybe it's that my first and second husband never fought for the marriage. I don't know what it is, but I just know that I got your back and I got your back forever. And it's an honor to go through every shadow to the light with you.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, thank you. Brandon, I'm remembering after the men did their men things and the women did their women things. And then we had the salon and you were sitting on a row with, I think there was 5 guys or 6 guys. And I'm like,
Mhm.
dang, he's coming alive. Listen to him. And then all the way to the next retreat, sharing in the circle. Um, what's unfolded for you in your masculinity and your safety to express your ability to be in your body? What's happened for you?
I think vulnerability is kind of a big one there. You just see other guys doing it. Um, you just know that I feel like that's what women want from men anyway, to be more vulnerable.
I want to feel your heart. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so yeah, I think once you get around other men who do the same thing, which is something I've experienced through the DEA, with Larry, is, you know, it doesn't really matter what you're going through. Nobody goes, wow, um, that's crazy. You know, they just listen and then they share something about themselves. And so it's a lot like what what you do and what we've experienced um, in your program. And even at that retreat, that was something that was kind of enjoyable. I remember that moment really well too. And I don't know how open I was, but us 5 men were like being interviewed by you women, basically. Like
Mhm.
you were asking us what it's like to be a man. And there was like, I don't know, the things that the guys were sharing, um, was like bringing you girls to tears. And it was, um, it was very interesting. It was kind of just on the other side of things. Um, no, I've never experienced a woman just like sit back and listen to, you know, guys just really opening up.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
It's
so
like you guys wanted more and more and more, and it was pretty incredible.
yeah. Yeah, we did. It's very rare that women shut up, but we just normally talk and talk and talk. But we danced. So we got all of that talky talk out and we were able just to rest in silence in our body and shut the fuck up and listen and drink you all in. It was exquisite for us. It was healing for us. So thank you for that. Um, how has the work we've done together, circling back to healing the infidelity, building back the trust, how have you been able to forgive self, forgive other, come back into wholeness, open your heart, rebuild trust? How's the work worked for you, Brandon?
It just knowing that there are other people that got your back. I think going through it weekly is really helpful.
Yeah.
Um, and just being able to look back, because all of this is very recent, so I can easily look back and see, like, kind of like you said, where I was when we first met, the opening up in the second um, into the second retreat. And then also it's just I can't say it's easy or it was easy, or if it's even all gone. But
Mhm.
it's just now I can kind of get through a bad day a lot easier than before, where the bad day would roll into another day and another day. Um,
What's the key to that, Brandon? Why do you think that is? I mean, I have my opinion, but why do you believe the bad days aren't as bad and you can get back on track faster, easier?
well, I just think being surrounded by a lot more positivity. I can even see positive in our relationship. Like she said, we talk more about the future.
Mm,
So it gives you, some hope, gives you hope.
mm, mm,
Um, plus, we also have a couple little distractions. that just make you love life and hate life at the same time. Our
A
little
little 4-year-old
kids,
and a 2-year-old
yeah,
distraction. That was,
little
yeah,
4 and 2. So,
yeah, yeah.
but it's not necessarily like a bad distraction. I think there are things out there that you can do that distract you from the problems in your life, but then there's other things that they distract you in a good way so that you can show up better the
Yeah,
next time.
keeps you in reality, keeps you
Yeah.
balanced. Yeah. The title of this episode being The Gift and the Shit Show. I think it's really what I'm so inspired by both of you is you could look at the situation through the eyes of this is wrong, we are wrong, everything's wrong. Or you could look at the situation where what is the gift in this, the message in this, the opportunity for growth. And if the divine is for us, if life is for us, let's sink our teeth into this and evolve together. I so respect that. What would you say, back to you, Amanda, and then over to you, Brandon, again, is the most, it could be very simple, but the most powerful practice that keeps you positive, keeps you connected, yeah, keeps you leaning in, heart open, and feeling through the tough times. Yeah, what do you think is the most powerful
I
practice?
think uh, two things. I'd say one is realizing that you're a team. You're separate individuals, but in a marriage, you're a team.
Yeah,
So asking for backup when you need it, like you're about to lose your mind, recognizing when your teammate is about to lose theirs,
yeah,
sitting down together and going over the hard stuff, financially, like talking about how you want to raise your kids, talking about, how long do we want for Brandon to work at the same, like, like just it's a team mentality. And then the second one is, now this one I did learn through, this is probably the one thing took away from our marriage counselor. But it was easier to put into place more and more as we were able to like heal some of our own stuff. And it was always think positively about the other person. So like don't, like when you get
assume the
triggered,
best. Mhm.
assume the best. Yes, that's the yes. Yeah. So like when you get triggered, don't go straight to, don't go straight to the negative stories that maybe you used to have in the past. Well, they don't love me if they loved me, or they don't care about me, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
got to assume the best. So you have to assume like he's tired if he's upset with
right.
everyone, or
His wound's
he's
been triggered. Yeah,
overwhelmed. Like, he's got stuff going on too.
yeah, yeah.
And he's allowed to feel what he's allowed to feel. And
Mm.
I'm allowed to feel what I'm allowed to feel.
Yeah,
And I think just being able to just kind of be like, no, I feel this way and I'm not wrong for feeling this way.
right, right.
Um, but I'm gonna go take some space, or like, and then that would be the third thing would be, I don't know if we fully have a plan in place, like where we just kind of go like, I'm overwhelmed, I'm gonna go take that space. I think we're still learning kind of like what that is. Like
Mm.
he's like hunting mentality, like he's a hunter, right? So he just got back from a 4-day hunt, 3-day hunt, something like that.
Mm.
And like those are the things that he loves to do. Like
Mm.
that he gets quiet, he sleeps better. Like,
Mm.
he has those times while he's hunting and like doing that sort of thing. I think I'm still learning what mine is like to ask for, but I've learned that walking, moving my body, right? We've really discovered that I really have to move my body and sing really loud. We also know that I
Sing
love to
really
do
loud
that
with
as well.
yeah, in the car.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Driving. Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
just those little things, like finding out those little tiny things that can express or remove like the overwhelm. So moving my
Yep.
body helps me get it out of my system. Singing really loudly brings it out of my lungs. It's almost like a
Yes.
scream for me, but without screaming, right? Even though I can scream and that's fine, it just doesn't do the same as like with the rhythm and the music and like
Yeah.
like if I want to scream, I will find a song that
Yeah.
fits that depth
Yeah.
of which I'm feeling.
I want to reiterate this back and then go to you, Brandon. So team mentality, we're in this together. So we're not against each other. We've got we're beside each other facing the future. Assuming the best when you're triggered, making it totally okay to feel your feelings. Each feelings are valid. And then lastly, what we do so much around here is when we feel a feeling, that's moving the energy through our body, right? Just staying in our head, we spin, and then it's a scary place. We're going to go into worst case scenario pretty fast. Or if we shut our feelings away, they're just going to build and then they're going to blow, right? So I really appreciate all of these practices, and also that you move your body, you help the energy, the emotion move through back into presence. Brilliant. How about you, Brandon? What do you think has rebuilt trust, connection the most for the two of you?
Big ones are is just taking that time for each other. Um, for a while, we did a date every Friday night, and that's changed a little bit, but it hasn't. The dating hasn't gone away. We still like maybe have lunch um, on the days that the kids are at daycare. They go twice a week, so that gives us time to spend more time with each other.
Mm,
Um, and whether that's like a good or bad experience that night, us being alone, I think really is like the big one.
mm,
Just taking that time. Also, just the constant growth. Um, the fact that we're in these programs and even including, the counseling back in, a couple of years ago.
mhm.
It wasn't we didn't stop doing it because it just wasn't working necessarily. It was still nice having that third party, being able to say something and then her explain it.
Yeah,
It was
Mm,
you got to have somebody to kind of step in and help the other person understand what I could be saying, or
yeah.
her vice versa. But so there, just that constant growth, that willingness to go to a retreat or show
Mhm,
up every week on a call.
mm,
Um, those types of things. I think reading books and journaling and all those things can help. And having that growth mindset, you learn all those um, different things that can help with that, like your methods. All the different methods that you have really help us dive into what we're feeling.
yeah.
And you don't always stay consistent with those, but I think if you're staying consistent with the people that you're in going through life with,
Mhm.
it's going to help in every area of life.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm having this memory of a couple session we did where we did dyads, and you both expressed your fears or your rage or whatever feelings you were feeling. And the other one said, thank you. And there was no ability to defend or justify or blame or do anything. And you both sat in the fire and you both felt and you both witnessed each other's truth. And you didn't even have to agree. You just received each other. You just listened and received each other. To me, that was a big session. That was a big session in
mm,
learning to forgive, because forgiveness is a weird thing to me anyways. It's not like, oh, I just forgive you and everything's better. No, it doesn't work like that. But when you
right.
can get into thank you, thank you for giving me this experience of a lot of pain,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm growing as an individual. I can blame you all day long, but thank you for giving me this challenge, because I realize that my worth is not over there. My worth is inside of me. My safety is not over there. It's inside of me. My freedom is not over there, circumstances or people. It's inside of me. Like these, in my experience, these dyads help us to take ownership and to stop blaming and more easily forgive and just ask for mercy from the universe. So back to you, Brandon, then Amanda. What how powerful have the dyads been in forgiveness and starting a new, literally a new marriage?
Really powerful because it's you're essentially challenging the other person. The more you grow, you're challenging them to grow as well. I mean,
Mm,
there's just no way around that.
mm,
They either have to get better or you guys fall apart.
right. Okay, you're kind of profound today. Thank you. That was really beautiful. Um, Amanda, how about you with the dyads,
Um,
the power, the forgiveness, the rebuilding?
I think without the dyads, you can try and have some of these conversations. And so what used to happen is I would defend myself, right? Or you'd get angry and then you just stop listening. You're not even
Right,
listening anymore because you're
right.
you're back in your brain going like, well, they didn't understand why I did it that way, or like whatever. And so the
Mm,
dyads really do kind of help those who feel like they need to defend themselves, or no, but need you to see it from my perspective. But they don't have to see it from your perspective. They can hear it. And that's the other thing. So it makes you both do two things. One, it makes you shut up, and it makes you listen. Like there are
yeah,
no other options.
yeah, Yeah.
Like, because all you can do is say thank you. So you can't reply to whatever it is that they just said.
Yep.
It allows them to get it out, knowing, I think it makes it freer because you know that they're not going to be able to, well, you're wrong, or that's not what I meant, or you know what I mean? Like you're not allowed to do that. You just get to say
Yeah.
how you're feeling, your truth, your side of it, whatever it is.
Mm.
And then they just have to say thank you. And then the same for you. Like you don't get to say, well, that's not right. And that's not what I intended. Like you literally have to just go,
Zip it. Thank you.
thank you. And I'm not going to lie, like the thank you sometimes seem really awkward because you're like, I don't really know if I'm thankful for what I just heard right now, but I will,
Yep.
you're just
Thank you
like, all
doesn't
right, well,
mean you're grateful. Thank you means I understand. And you
I
might
have,
think
I
you're
have totally
batshit
listened.
crazy
Yeah.
and
But
disagree a
thank
lot.
you. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah.
At least that. Thank you for at least letting me hear where your head is and your
Yeah.
heart and
Yeah.
whatever's going on, because I think that's where we either don't let other people do that, or we go straight into assuming mode, which usually isn't assuming the good. Like we're all up
Correct.
in
Yeah.
these stories that we have constantly built
Totally.
over time.
Yeah. To me, it's an incredible tool for building allowance. When you allow your partner to be who they are, it doesn't mean you prefer it or like it or agree with it.
Right.
But if we don't allow, we're in judgment and they feel it and the heart's closed and there's separation. We're not going to get anywhere. So it teaches unconditional love. I
Yeah.
love you without condition. You are in a way that I don't like, and I will still keep my heart open to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that passes through into our children when they're doing things we don't like, or our boss,
Mhm.
or the
Yeah.
finances, or our body. Like everywhere we look, we can find places, we can find shit shows, right?
Mhm.
But these practices really help us be in allowance. Like, okay, what's the gift in this? This too shall pass. I can be with this. I can become better. Wow, I
Yeah.
can become more. When we stop the judgment resisting and we just sit in it and we get through the discomfort of sitting in it, then something arises that's amazing. Yeah. Um, I am thrilled, even though you weren't with us in Costa Rica. Hopefully, you'll be with us next year in Mexico. Why do you want to come to the next retreat? I mean, I have an idea why, but why are they meaningful to the success of your marriage moving forward?
There's something about like it's just powerful. I mean, literally, that's the biggest thing. For one, you've shown up for yourself, and if you're with a couple, you've shown up for yourself and your spouse.
Right.
You've dedicated money to something that they always say, you put your money where your heart is.
Mm,
And so if your heart is in being better, if your
mm,
heart is in trying to all be better to each other, if your heart
mm.
is in like that dedicated, like I don't remember how many days it is. We're always there for like a week. I don't know.
5 days.
5 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like, so you've literally taken 5 days out of your entire calendar year to
Yep.
shut everything out.
Yep.
And it's hard stuff. Look, it's not like easy. Like Allana puts on like you put on I mean, you get there, we're starting, we get busy. Like we have
Yep.
dinner
We
and
play hard and we work hard.
we tell
Yeah.
like the minute you get there, we have dinner, we say hi to everyone, and then we're like, and here we go. And then you start like with the questions and like the making us get uncomfortable with other people. And um, but the like Brandon said, like you come out of these 5 days with like relationships that you didn't have before, connections that you
Yes.
didn't have before, a
Yes.
space to be completely non-judged.
Yeah.
Like honestly, completely non-judged.
With
Like with
safety.
the
Mm.
second retreat I was having, I mean, I thought I had done a lot of work, and I had, right? But as we're, these little onions peel away, like more stuff pops up. And I hadn't realized still just how much I had shame and guilt and self-hatred. I think those are my top three usually that are always my thing: shame, guilt, and self-hatred. And I was surrounded by, we broke out into the guy and the girl group. And I was like, oh, here I am again, telling everybody how shitty of a person I am and like all the things. And I mean, I cried. And this time it wasn't just four people. It was like a whole, what do you call it? Gaggle of women, whatever. But all my, like we all just, I mean, literally I was piled on again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now I was piled on with some people I knew, but a lot of people I didn't. And I feel like this was like day 2 of the retreat. Like once again,
Yeah.
I'm just like
Right
being
away. Mm,
piled. And then from there, like just connecting these relationships and then getting deeper in ourselves. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me 3 full days. I think I remember 3 full days and to just relax.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I finally was like, oh, I feel like a weight has been lifted.
Yeah.
Because there's just so many things to process and let go of, especially
Totally.
when heartache and mistrust and all of that, you
Flush out.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you fall out of the kayak in the ocean together like that.
So weird. So, we were going and then we weren't
And
going.
you weren't. Yeah.
So
Oh, thank
fun.
you. Brandon, why are you looking forward to the next retreat?
Because it's more than just a vacation.
Yeah.
It's just,
For sure.
I mean, you think about it, everybody goes on a vacation every year. You go, and then about the time that you're relaxed, now you got to go back to the grind. And
Yeah.
you can't even sometimes really, you want to take a break just right as soon as you get back from the break you just had.
Right.
Because it's not always fun. Vacation, you know, you're wearing yourself out. You may still be arguing with each other, but
Right.
with your retreats, I mean, you get relaxed a lot quicker. There's uh, a sense of community, which is like my favorite part. It's not just me and her and
Yeah.
maybe another couple friends, but it's a group. And I think Sean really explained it real well. He's like, we don't know any personal details about anybody's life here,
Right.
but we all trust each other.
Yeah.
Um, I think, you know, guys like Sean and Gary, I could call those guys up when I'm really having a horrible time.
Yeah.
And I really only know what they do for a living.
This is so
So
beautiful.
yeah, I think that's a big one. I mean, not just the relationships that you develop, but all the stuff that you work through your own heart.
Yeah.
Um, just it makes going back to the grind like way easier.
Yeah.
It makes life, it's just so much more evolved. You have 5 days to evolve, and then when you get home, you're still evolving. Like it didn't just stop the minute you got off the plane.
No, that's
Like you
because we
just
still have our group calls, our private calls, so we keep the momentum and the connection and the evolution going, but keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think like you're continuing to slosh things off. Like every time as you're coming back, slosh it off. I know.
Wash it off.
But
Love it.
you know, take it off. Like, you know, what was weighing you down. I will give
Totally.
one bit of advice to anybody thinking about going to the retreat. If you can afford it, add a day. And
Yes.
you know, your person can help fix that. Just add one extra day after the retreat is over to just be in it
Yep.
before
Yep.
you head back home.
Yep.
That's out of experience of like, we used to do it the opposite. We would come early, and then I was like, you know, I think it'd be better if we just get there on that Wednesday night and then we stay till Monday or something, or whenever
Spend an
just
extra
stay
day.
an extra day and just
Yeah.
allow it to just keep washing off of you and just really be, because by the time you're done, especially if you're going with a spouse, that intimacy is going to be so much higher than when you got there.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So take that time. Get intimate.
Get intimate, baby. Thank you that's brilliant advice. I do the same myself. I go hide in a hotel somewhere and just be and cry because I'm so grateful and so inspired by everyone's transformation that I plan tight, but I hang loose. I get there and something always goes sideways and we go someplace else and it's perfect. The divine is having its way with us. Yeah. I would love to complete. I didn't even tell you this before the interview, so I hope you're okay with this. And even if you're not, coaching gets good when you say, fuck you, Allana, right? That's what we know around here. I would love to hear you both acknowledge each other or appreciate each other. Like what you want to appreciate each other for. It could be anything. It could be what happened last night. It could be for the last couple of years. It could be anything that your heart wants to say. So not the mind, but drop your awareness down into your heart, soften the front of your body, and just slightly shift and move towards one another. And we'll do ladies first, Amanda. And my request is don't just speak to Brandon, speak into Brandon. Make it land. Let it go all the way deep inside of his soul so that he's never the same again. And let him know, I appreciate you so much because, and then just see what comes out of your mouth, out of your heart. Yeah.
I appreciate you so much because your willingness to work through everything in life is inspiring to me. It makes me feel continue to be desired by you, that you desire not only me, but this family and these kids and our dreams. I am so thankful for the fact that you make it a point to go to your men's stuff and you make your men's calls. And it's inspiring to know that you surround yourself with other men who can hold you up. And I think that is lacking in our society today. Men are told to be strong and stuff by themselves, and that's not how it works. And so I really appreciate you for protecting us and this family, for being willing to sit down and talk about finances, which we have not liked to do in the past, but like finally getting excited about like where we're going and where we're headed. And I thank you for acknowledging how you feel when you're upset and when you're just in need of a break. The way that you get down on the same level with the kids and you are like, okay, I'm sorry, I yelled, hear me, like look into my eyes and hear me. You get down with them, you play with them. Like, I mean, I couldn't be any more blessed to have somebody who works every day with me and for me, and even on yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful. Let's take a deep breath. Oh, and soften your body, the front of your body, and open your heart even wider. And speak into her heart, and into her soul, Brandon. I want to appreciate you because.
I want to appreciate you because you do a lot around here just with the kids. You give me that space that I need. You do kind of motivate me, inspire me to just keep going every day. And it's a joy to see you get out and start doing things again, and you know dancing and whatever it is that yoga, whatever it is, whether it's an exercise or just something more fun. It's yeah, it's just fun to be constantly motivated and looking ahead, dreaming. Much bigger dreamer than I am. So so yeah, thank you. Love you.
Thank you. Love you.
Thank you both so much. I want to appreciate you both for letting me love you, letting me believe in you, letting me support you, taking us through the darkness to the light, and being such an inspiration to me personally to keep believing in love, and our whole community, and now the whole internet, to believe that anyone can get through anything when they do the work. And I'm so grateful all that this is showering your children, that we don't need perfection, but wow, to be in your aura, to be in your energy, to be in your love as you transform. I don't think there's any greater gift we can give our children. So thank you. Thank you for changing the world. I love you so much. Yeah. And so I'll see you at the next retreat, hopefully. See you on the next calls. Give Larry my love and all your men's group. Thank you for that. Thank you for Larry, who, because of him, you found me. So just thank you to the divine, how it weaves all of us together so that we can be our best selves. I'm so grateful. Yeah. And you viewers or listeners, yeah, I don't know. I'm just so grateful. So grateful for this work that I get to do. Thank you for watching Intimate Conversations, or other podcasts that I've been on. That this is my life. I have a blessing of being able to love the shit out of people. I'm just beyond words grateful. So thank you for being on Intimate Conversations. You know how to reach me. There's a contact form on my website. If I can support you, your marriage, your relationship with yourself. So thank you. And like we do on the end of every group call, big stretch. So I can give you a big hug. You guys hug each other and I'll group hug you from here. Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. Wow. Wow. See you soon. Stay on the call. I'll say goodbye to you officially. And thank you all for being on Intimate Conversations. See you next week on Intimate Conversations. Get out there and make love to life. Okay, well, I'm so happy right now. I'm at Stony Farms. I just got fresh eggs. Look at the big trees around here. And there's the market over there. And I also got some fresh chocolate milk for the drive home because I've got at least 45 minutes till I get home. And I got some awesome sausages. Just people that put such love into fresh food makes me so, so happy. And I'm also just coming off my acupuncture appointment, integrating a lot of grief in my kidneys and pain in my heart and all the things, just going through being real and feeling the feels as I've completed my relationship with Scott and not bypassing the process of grief and completion and getting to gratitude authentically, not forcing it, you know? So, and these eggs, Scott really likes fresh eggs. And even though we've broken up, kindness doesn't need to stop. Generosity doesn't need to stop. I'm still going to be sticking around until I find a house, buy a house. So I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, and we've shifted into friends. I'm very proud of my ability to still feel my feelings and keep my heart open. And I hope you were deeply inspired by the podcast with Brandon and Amanda. I mean, talk about doing the work. Talk about redefining, like literally completing one marriage and creating the next, and allowing the just deep honor, allowing me to support each of them in integrating their own wounds, forgiving themselves, forgiving one another, and literally being stronger than ever. I'm so inspired by those two. OMG. When this docuseries gets going, they're the first couple I'm going to invite to be on the show so they can have the next level of support from me and not have to pay for it, to do the retreat again, as you see they so love. To do PSIs. I haven't been able to do PSIs with either of them. Brandon he's a vet, so there's some PTSD in there I'd love to integrate for him. I love them. I'm sure you fell in love with them as well. If you're a couple and you watch that and you're like, oh my God, I've been looking for more than a traditional CBT, cognitive behavioral therapist. We all know that CBT has a success rate of 17 to 24% that decreases over time. Why? Not lack of great intentions. They're dealing with the conscious mind, and trauma lives in the subconscious, not the conscious. And so while it provides great tools and insights and understanding, it doesn't heal trauma. And when triggered, that's the trauma, right? We don't want to react, but it takes over when our central autonomic nervous system just freaks out. Integrating trauma is how we heal that, integrate that, so that in the face of what used to trigger us, we're present. We can breathe, we can stay in our body, and we can create a new reality in our marriage and in our family. So if I can support you with that, it would be my deepest, deepest honor. Connect with me. I love you with all my heart. I'm gonna now sip my chocolate milk as I drive home. Oh my God, the oak trees around here, it's just magic. It's just magic. I'm grateful, and I wonder where I will move on to next. All right, I love you as I surrender to divine will.